Congratulations, if you've made it this far, you're almost home. The last stage of the Retro Daisy pullover is the mock turtle that is made out of the same stitches like the ribbing around the sleeves and the bottom of your pullover. I determined that I needed 6 stitches in order to create my mock turtle. And the way I arrived at that number was to measure the outside of my neck and the inside of the neckline of my pullover. From those measurements, I was able to determine that 6 stitches would be enough to lay gently at the base of my neck and ease gently around the neckline of the pullover. I was also mindful of the fact as I arrived at this stitch count that I wanted a stitch count that was similar to the width of my sleeve ribbing. Once you've made that design choice, you are ready to begin the neckline. Now we're back to our trim on our neckline. Again, this neckline will be an embellishment, but it also has function. The technique that you will learn with this neckline, if you're not already familiar with it, is how to go around a curve and still have the neckline lay flat due to the stitches being of varying stitch heights. Now, let's get started. As with most things in crochet, we're going to begin with a slip knot on our hook. And we will attach our yarn to the garment by going under the post of one of the stitches at the shoulder. I am continuing to use my 5mm hook on this ribbing, just exactly the same hook that I used on the bottom and the sleeves. I need some room to get started before we start this curve. So I'm going to go in, like I said, up there near, and I'm going under the top of I'm going inside the top of the stitch, but then I'm coming up under the post. I'm not going in the side of the stitch like this to end up on top. I want it to really be anchored. And I'm also wanting to begin with the first stitch to take up some of the circumference of the neckline so it will lay flat. And make a single crochet. Now chain 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. This begins your foundation row for the ribbing around the neckline. Insert your hook into the second back bump from the hook and single crochet in each back bump all the way to your garment. Your 6th stitch will be into one of the loops of the single crochet where we attached the yarn. Okay, let's count those stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then our last stitch is into our single crochet where we attached. Okay. The yarn split there. All right, there we go. Single crochet. Okay, again, back into the same stitch where we attached the yarn, pull up a loop. Into the next stitch, pull up a loop, and into the next stitch, pull up a loop. Have 4 loops on the hook. With that 4th loop, pull it through the other 3 loops. And slip stitch into the next stitch. And turn your work. Now the top of your chains for your foundation chain to begin the ribbing. We are ready for our second row. In this first stitch, we need to do a decrease because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and actually 7 because of our where we slip stitch that first stitch to the garment. On this one, because that stitch is so large, whenever we did the ribbing on the other two areas of our sweater, we didn't do our slip stitch to the garment in this same manner because we weren't going around a curve. So what I want to do on this one, do not yarn over for that first double crochet. I want you to go into that back loop. Get the yarn over there. I want you to go into that back loop and pull up a loop. That's your second loop of your double crochet. And then into that first stitch
of your foundation row
and pull up a loop. And now you have your 3 loops for your double crochet. And pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And so that is called a joined double crochet, and you've joined it to that rather large slip stitch where we were attaching the yarn over 3 stitches rather than 2 because we are going around a curve. All right, next stitch is a double crochet into the back loop of your next stitch. Almost put it in the same stitch. Half double crochet in the next 2 stitches. Half double crochet in the next stitch. I already said the 2 stitches. And then the last 2 stitches will be single crochet. Now we are going to be coming into the back loops of this row. Once again, the first stitch is a single crochet, so we will chain only 1. And before I turn my work, I'm going to insert my hook into what's going to now be the back loop as soon as I turn my work. And then pull up a loop and single crochet. The next stitch is a single crochet. We're just going in reverse of what we did on the previous row. So the next 2 stitches will be a half double. And then the next 2 stitches will be double crochet. Back loops only. Regardless of what stitch height we put in, it's still back loops only. And now we are at the garment again. And we're going to need to do the same thing. And let me explain why. That we did be on the previous row. If we go ahead and just skip over to where this stitch, where we our hook ends up from the last stitch, then we have a really large gap here because we skip a stitch. So that's why we do a decrease here in this stitch. We're going to go into this first unoccupied stitch, the first stitch that does not have our hot rose yarn into it, and then we're going to go into the second one, and we're going to go into the third one. We now have 4 loops on our hook. So with that 4th loop, pull it through all 3 of those loops. And then we're going to go into 1 more stitch with a slip stitch. And now we're ready to turn our work, and our first stitch will be a joined double crochet. And the way we do that, again, just like last time, we're going to go into that back loop of our slip stitch through the 3 loops. I'm getting out of frame again. We have 2 loops on the hook. Now we're going into our actual back loop of the stitch from our ribbing. Pull up a loop. Now you have 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Okay? And now that looks nice and neat, and it's clearly attached to the garment. We do have a little bit of a gap here, but that isn't actually from our ribbing as much as it is the stitches up here, because they were in 5.5 millimeter hook, they're just a little larger. Had I thought in advance, this last row of around my hexagon, if I'd have thought of it, about how it flared out a bit, the same thing that happened at the bottom of my garment, I would have changed to a 5 millimeter, but it just didn't occur to me that that was going to happen. Okay, so in this row of our ribbing, we need 1 more double crochet. You know, I hope it's a fun ride for you guys. In creating this sweater, you know, I'm not doing a prototype. I haven't done a prototype first. This is the prototype. So you are riding along with me in the actual intuitive design process. I crochet intuitively when I start designing something for the first time. Now, I'm not saying that this design nobody else has done this design in this retro daisy. I'm just saying for me, this is the first time I've done it, because I kind of fly by the seat of my pants and don't use patterns too much. All right, chain 1 and insert the hook back into the first stitch that we're going to use as we turn our ribbing, and have 2 single crochet, 2 half double crochet, and 2 double crochet. And then we'll be back at our garment, and we're going to do the same thing again that we have done. And we're really getting close to our corner now. All right, now we're back at our garment. Let me turn him just a bit so it's not that awkward for me. Okay. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to go into the stitch, the next stitch that's unoccupied in my garment, into the next stitch that's unoccupied, and into the next stitch. And with that 4th stitch, I'm going to pull through 3 loops. And then my next slip stitch is actually going to be in the join, but it's that it is another stitch of the hexagon. So I'm going right there into that stitch of the hexagon that's right next to the last one I used, but it's at the join, and I'm going to slip stitch. Now we are right at our corner, coming in and going around the curve. So now we're going to turn the garment just a bit, rotate it where our stitches are easy to put in, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do a joined double crochet. So I'm going to insert my hook into that outside loop of that slip stitch and pull up a loop. And then I'm going to go into the back loop of the ribbing on that first stitch and pull up a loop for our a double crochet, which is a joined double crochet. Okay, and then the next stitch is a double crochet, a make sure you're in the second stitch. Okay, my stitch at the top, because I'm kind of in an awkward position, my stitch at the top opened up, and I don't want that to be not the right size of stitch. So I'm taking it out and coming back in again. There we go. Now the next 2 stitches are half double crochet, half double crochet again, and 2 single crochet. And do the same thing in reverse. Chain 1, insert the hook into that first stitch before we rotate the work. Pull up a loop, and you've got your first single crochet. I keep migrating over to every stitch. I just keep going and going out of frame. All right. Another single crochet. Half double crochet. Half double crochet. Double crochet. Yeah. For a couple of more rows, we'll continue with this, putting in the double crochet at the base. And then we'll have several stitches going across the front of the garment, several rows of ribbing going across the front of the garment that will just be the half double crochet. But we have to get around this corner before we start that. Okay, here we are, back at the garment again. So I'm going to go in on the other side of the join. This is where the 2 stitches join. And I may come through with my yarn needle. I'm going to see how it lays after it really... our stitches begin to get memory as to where they're supposed to be after a while. You'll notice me, as well as a lot of other crocheters, like when I was joining... when I will join squares together. Once I get the join done, then I will give it a tug and work with it a minute so that all of the loops can get to where they're actually supposed to be and stay there. It's kind of like muscle memory that we get after we do something a while. We get muscle memory. Well, we have to tell our stitches where they're supposed to be, and then they get memory. The yarn will do what it does. All right. Now we're going to go into right on the side. It actually is a stitch in this block, but it's the one where we joined it with our needle and thread. So go back into that first stitch. On this, it's actually the corner. And pull up a loop into the next stitch and pull up a loop. I think here we can go ahead with the 3 stitches and just pull through the 2 loops now, and then slip stitch into the next stitch, and we're going to have enough stitch height that we can put in our double crochet. Okay, so rotate the work a little bit. And this, because we did that, we don't have to do the joined crochet. I mean the joined double crochet. And then we're double crochet into the back loop of the next stitch. Half double crochet. 2 stitches. And 2 single crochet. Okay, chain 1 and come back. The reverse stitch pattern. Single crochet, back loop only. And I keep repeating that because I know when I first started crocheting, it's for the benefit of our newcomers. Even today, in my head, no matter what I'm crocheting, I am repeating the stitch pattern. It's going on up there. There's a lot of rumbling around inside my head while I'm crocheting. All right. And we have completed our curve. And you'll see whenever we have completed the entire garment that this, because of the curve, then this will lay down next to your body as you come. If we had just done the ribbing in all half double crochet, even around this curve, it would have stick out. It would stick out. This is going to lay next to our body. All right. Now in this next row, we're going to start going back to our half double crochet, but we are going to continue to do our single crochet for the top 2 stitches. Actually, we're going to split it. We're going to begin 3 single crochet and 3 half double crochet while we go across this straight area, and then once we get around right here, we're going to start going into this curve again. Okay, so again here we're going to come into the first stitch that's not had the hot rose in it. The hot rose, it's this yarn color is what I'm referring to. Yours is going to be different. I understand that, but there again, I'm telling you that I have this rumbling going around in my head, and that's what it's saying. Going to the next stitch that doesn't have any hot rose in it. All right, and then we're slip stitching into the next stitch, and we're going to turn our work, and we're going to go back to our half double crochets now because we have completed our curve. So we've already gone through our pie slice here, and we're on a straight run, so we're going to go back to our middle stitch height. That's why I chose half double crochet for this ribbing, is because from a half double then it's easy to go to the other 2 stitch heights on each side of it, the single crochet and the double crochet, when I was coming around this curve. Because I was pre-thinking it out, looking at the design and going, I think I'm going to do that here, therefore this ribbing should be half double crochet. Now we're coming back in this time, and we're going to have 3 singles. And the reason we changed to 3 singles here, we're keeping some single crochets up here, is again so it will lay close to your body and not stick out. Now we're going to chain 1 before we turn our work. Three single crochet, and 3 half double crochet. And we're back at the garment again. We will go into the first stitch again. Let me get everything adjusted here. All right, here we go again. Go into that first stitch that has not had any stitches attached to it and pull up a loop. Go into the next stitch and pull up a loop. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops, slip stitch into the next stitch, and slip stitch. Now rotate the work again, where you can slip stitch I'm sorry, I keep hitting my camera. Back loops only. Half double crochet, 3, half double crochet, and another half double crochet, and then 3 single crochet. Chain 1, insert the hook into that first stitch, and turn your work. Same thing again in reverse. 3 single crochet, and 3 half double crochet. And we're back at our garment. Same thing. Into the first vacant stitch, pull up a loop, the next one pull up a loop. Pull through those 2 loops, and then slip stitch one more time. Whoops. And rotate your work. Half double crochet in the first 3 stitches from the previous row. Pull out some yarn, little yarn management here. And 3 single crochet into the back loops. Chain 1, insert the hook into that first stitch for the next row, and rotate the work. Single crochet, back loops only, in the next 3 stitches. Half double crochet, at the garment. Now we need to pay attention here, and in order to have symmetry in our neckline, because we're right at the center point of our panel that's in the middle of our body. So we're just right there. We may be a little bit of a stitch off, but we need to be mindful of when and where we started this curve going around, and start the same thing. So I'm still going to come one more pass. I'm a little bit past. It was actually the previous row that was the middle, because this is the middle of our daisy right here. So I've come one more, and so I'm going to do one more up and down, I think, and then I'm going to begin my and add the double crochet at the base of the ribbing at the neckline of the garment. And so we'll do that around the curve, and then we'll go back to the way we started. All right, so we got one more time like this, up and back, and then we'll add our double crochet. So we're at our garment, and pull up a loop, into that first stitch. In the next stitch, pull up a loop and then pull through those 2 loops. Slip stitch one more time into the garment, rotate the work, half double crochet in the first stitch, and 2 more stitches for a total of 3 half double crochet. And then 2 single crochet, actually 3 single crochets, excuse me, I misspoke, and chain 1 and insert the hook into that first stitch and rotate your work. Let me double check. I'm thinking on our way down is when we're going to be adding our, let me see where I am again. No, we can come back with, we'll repeat the same pattern sequence, and then as we come back up, we're going to begin with our double crochet. 2, 2, and 2. We're going to have 3 stitch heights on the next row up. Normally, whenever I am doing a pattern repeat, I demonstrate it 3 times and then let you work independently. But when I do that on this neckline, we only have 1 more curve. And since it is a little bit, it's a little more challenging. I've just done it before is the only reason. So, but for those of that have not done it before, I'm just going to go ahead and go all the way through this ribbing for the neckline and do the whole thing with you, because basically we only have 4 curves, so why leave you hanging? Let's make sure we have 6 stitches, and now we're going to come into this first stitch, into the second stitch. This first one, I think we're going to go ahead. Let me make sure. Yep, I did it there. Do this attached to the garment with the slip stitches exactly like you do with the half double crochet on this first one. So we need to slip stitch one more time. What I meant by that was the you slip stitch into the first stitch that you haven't stitched into, stitch in and pull up a loop into the second one, and then pull through the 2 loops, and then we slip stitch one more time. Okay, but our first, now we're going to rotate the work, and our first stitch here is a double crochet. And because we did not go through the 3 slip stitches for that first stitch, it's not a joined double crochet, it's just a regular double crochet. And then 2 half double crochet, because we're decreasing stitch height, and then 2 single crochet. Chain 1, insert the hook before you rotate the work, 2 single crochet, two half double crochet, and 2 double crochet. And we're back at our garment again. Insert the hook into the first next available stitch and into the second stitch. It's almost in the corner. Your fourth stitch is the corner. Pull up a loop, and with that fourth stitch, pull through those 3 loops. Now we are into the first stitch of our hexagon garment that's right there, right in the corner. And pull up a loop and slip stitch. Now this time we are going to go into this back loop of that first slip stitch, and we're going to, we got to have our yarn over here. Go into that back loop and pull up a loop. This is our joined double crochet, and then we're going to go into that loop on our ribbing again. Pull up a loop. Now we have 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, and that's your joined double crochet. We're coming right along with this garment. I'm so happy. Can't wait to try it on. All right, one more double crochet into the next back loop of the next stitch. Two half double crochet in the back loop of the next 2 stitches. And single crochet in the next 2 stitches. Chain 1, insert the hook into the first stitch, and rotate your work on the table. All right. Single crochet into the first 2 stitches, half double crochet, 2 stitches, and double crochet into the next 2 stitches, and we're back at our garment. This is going quickly. We're just moving right along. We're almost halfway through this. All right. And find the first stitch that hasn't had a stitch into it. Pull up a loop. The next stitch, pull up a loop, and one more. Pull up a loop. That 4 loops on the hook. Take that 4th loop and pull through all 3 loops. Insert the hook in the next stitch and slip stitch. Sorry, I keep knocking things off. There's my pin cushion. All right, here we go. Now then. Oh, no, we're going to do the joined double crochet here. So we're going to go into the back loop of that slip stitch where we attached it to the garment through 4 stitches. Going to pull up a loop, go into the back loop of the actual ribbing and pull up a loop. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and that's a joined double crochet. One more double crochet into the back loop of the next stitch. 1 half double crochet into the next 2 stitches from the previous, and now 2 single crochet in the next 2 stitches is the way that's supposed to be said. Chain 1, insert the hook into the first stitch for the next row, rotate the work. Good job. Isn't that beautiful? It's like a mock turtle in a way, but it's not. A mock turtle would be this many more stitches tall, and they would be single crochet. But not today. That's not what we're doing. All right. So, but just so you know, that's what happens. That's how you do that. And we'll make one of those before it's all said and done. All right, single crochet in the next 2 stitches, half double crochet in the next 2 stitches, and double crochet in the next 2 stitches, and we're back at our garment. I'm being mindful of where my shoulder seam is. We're going to continue with this right up to the shoulder, almost to the shoulder, because you see here, this is my shoulder join, and I started this ribbing right there because I want to come through with 2 rows here of just the 3 half double crochet and the 3 single crochets, and then go back to the stitches that complete the curve. You have to continue to graduate your stitches so that it becomes a circle. We are still at double crochets at the garment, so insert the hook into the next available stitch, pull up a loop, into the next stitch, pull up a loop, and did I do 3 there? I'm sorry, I don't have this written down. Like I said, I'm flying by the seat of my pants. Okay, no. By the time we start here, we're doing it the same. Because this is a straight run, it's not a curve. That's why we're going back to the same stitch pattern that we did in the front of the garment where it was a straight line. I call the alternative rib stitching with the half double crochet. The 3 loops on the hook, that one. And then into the next stitch, slip stitch. Turn your work. And since we didn't go through, didn't do the decrease on that garment with 4 loops on our hook, we're just going to come right back through and into the first stitch from our ribbing in that back loop with a regular double crochet. We don't need the joined double crochet here. Just a regular double crochet. Another one into the back loop of the next stitch. Half double crochet in the next 2 stitches. And single crochet in the next 2 stitches. Chain 1, insert the hook into the first stitch for the next row, and rotate the work. Single crochet in the first 2 stitches, back loops only. And we're to our half double crochets. For the remainder of this row, because we are on a straight part of the neckline rather than on a curve. We're at the garment, first available stitch, pull up a loop, insert in the next stitch, pull up a loop, pull through 2 loops, slip stitch into the next stitch, rotate the work, double crochet into the back loop of the first stitch, and in the next stitch, half double crochet in the next 2 stitches, and double crochet in the next 2 stitches. Chain 1, insert the hook into the first stitch. Rotate your work. All right. This row and 1 more, and then we'll be at our shoulder seam, and we'll put in our alternative ribbing. So we're going in the reverse pattern from the previous row. We've got 2 single crochet, 2 half double crochet, and 2 double crochet. back at the garment. Same sequence as we did before. Insert into the first stitch, pull up a loop, second stitch, pull up a loop, pull through 2 loops, slip stitch again into the next stitch. Rotate the work. Now we're at the shoulder seam, so whenever we come back on the next pass, on top of this, we're going to split it 3 single crochet and 3 half double crochet. But on going up as we're doing now, we're going to stay with the 2-2-2 pattern. 2 double crochets in the first 2 stitches. No, I didn't say that right. Double crochet in the next 2 stitches. Half double crochet in the next 2 stitches. Single crochet in the next 2 stitches. Chain 1, insert the hook into the first stitch in the next row, and rotate the work. Single crochet in the next 3 stitches. Half double crochet in the next 3 stitches. Oops, and I didn't have a loop. Now we're back at the garment. Insert the hook in the first available stitch, pull up a loop, the next stitch, pull up a loop, and then pull through 2 loops. Slip stitch into the next stitch, yarn over, and rotate the work. Okay, half double crochet in the back loop of the first stitch, and we'll do that also in the next 2 stitches for a total of 3 half double crochet. And 3 single crochet. Chain 1, insert the hook before you rotate the work. And we're going to do that one more time. Single crochet in the next 3 stitches. Half double crochet in the next 3 stitches. And we're back at our garment. We're coming up to our curve on the other side of our garment. We are going to go back to our double crochet at the garment for the next, actually we do it 4 times. So we're going to go ahead on this first one, though. It is the same as the previous on our slip stitching. Go through and have 3 loops on the hook. The 3rd loop, pull through the 2 loops, and then slip stitch one more time. And double crochet in the first. This is awkward, but it's so worth it whenever we get done. I think you're going to be really proud of yourself if you've never done this before, especially. Double crochet in 2 stitches, the first 2 stitches. Yeah, that's a little awkward. Not sure on my tension there. Another double crochet, and then half double crochet in the next 2 stitches. And single crochet in the next 2 stitches. Chain 1, insert the hook into that first stitch before you rotate the work. Single crochet in the first 2 stitches. So we're going to go back in reverse of the previous row. Half double crochet in the next 2 stitches. And double crochet in the next 2 stitches. Now we're back at the garment. Make sure you're going through 2 loops here on that first stitch as in the garment. It pulls a little bit where we attached the daisies, and so make sure you get in the 2 loops. Same with the next stitch. Insert the hook, and that's right at the join. Just make sure you get in 2 loops, not just 1. It'll pull. You have 3 loops on the hook. Go 1 more stitch, and it's the first stitch of the daisy panel, because we are now back at coming across the front. The back. We're coming across the back. All right. And so with that 4th loop, pull through 3 loops. And then insert the hook into the next stitch and slip stitch. All right. Rotate the work one more time. Well, several more, but right now it's just 1. All right. We're going to do the joined double crochet this time because we've come over 4 total stitches and rather than 3. So we're going to do the joined double crochet. So get your yarn over and go into the loop of the slip stitch. That wasn't the loop of the slip stitch. Yes, it was. The back loop of the slip stitch. The join double crochet again. The next double crochet, I need to make sure I'm actually in the 2nd stitch. Half double crochet in the next 2 stitches. And single crochet in the next 2 stitches. Chain 1, insert the hook into the first stitch and rotate the work. Single crochet in the next 2 stitches. Half double crochet in the next 2 stitches. Double crochet in the next 2 stitches. we're back at the garment. In the next stitch, where you have not stitched before, pull up a loop, second stitch, pull up a loop, go into the next stitch, the third stitch. Now you have 4 loops on the hook. With that last loop, pull through 3 loops. Slip stitch into the next stitch. Our first stitch is a joined double crochet. So pull up a loop from the back loop of the first slip stitch, and then insert the hook into the first stitch of the ribbing and pull up a loop. You have 3 loops on the hook. Pull through 2 and pull through 2. Double crochet again into the next stitch. Half double crochet into the next 2 stitches. Single crochet into the next 2 stitches. Chain 1, insert the hook into the next stitch. Single crochet in those first 2 stitches, so we're doing the reverse of the previous pass. And you're back at your garment. Okay, into the next stitch. Now we're to the straight part. So we are going to go back into this next pass. We will be doing the half double crochet, 3 stitches, and then the 3 single crochet. That's what we're going back to that pass this time, because we have done our curve. And I really like the way this is turning out. So into the next available stitch, insert your hook and pull up a loop. Do the same in the next stitch. With that third loop, pull through 2 loops, slip stitch again. Rotate the work and half double crochet in the next 3 stitches, back loops only. And single crochet in the next 3 stitches, back loops only. I haven't been saying back loops only every time, I hope. I think I said in the ribbing it's always back loops only, even after you turn your work, back loop of that row. Chain 1 again, insert your hook into the first stitch and rotate the work. Single crochet in the next 3 stitches. This is correct. Proceed 3 half double crochet. And back at the garment again, into the next available stitch, pull up a loop, the next stitch, pull up a loop. With the third loop, go through 2 loops, slip stitch again. Half double crochet in the first 3 stitches, back loops only. And oh goody, we only have one more curve to do. And then we're going to finish this off and we'll be finished with our garment. I'm so excited. Okay, chain 1, insert the hook into the first stitch and rotate the work. We'll do one more pass with the half double, the 3 and 3 stitch, and then when we come back up on this pass, we will join the garment with the double crochet and begin our last curve. So 3 single crochet or a single crochet in the next 3 stitches and half double crochet in the next 3 stitches. Back at the garment, and on this one we will still get 3 loops on our hook here. Insert the hook into the next stitch, pull up a loop, insert the hook in the next stitch, pull up a loop, and with that 3rd loop go through the 2 loops and then slip stitch into the next stitch and double crochet into the next 2 stitches, back loops only. Half double crochet in the next 2 stitches, single crochet in the next 2 stitches. Chain 1, insert the hook in the first stitch, rotate the work. Single crochet in the first 2 stitches, half double crochet in the next 2 stitches, and double crochet in the next 2 stitches. And back at your garment. Insert your hook into the next stitch and pull up a loop, into the next stitch and pull up a loop. Insert your hook in the next stitch, which happens to be the corner. On my case, it's the corner of my little daisy square. And with that 4th loop, pull through 3 loops. And then insert the hook into, not actually into the join. You want to go into the next stitch, which is your hexagon garment, but make certain that you're in 2 loops. Because with our join, we were only in the back loops. So that stitch for me is a little bit, see, like open. That and pull it through and slip stitch. Now we're going to do a joined double crochet on this one. Let me see, make sure I'm getting up there where you can see this. So where you joined the with the 4 loops on your hook, you want to go into the back of that stitch, pull up a loop, now 2 loops on your hook. Insert your hook in the back loop of the first stitch from the ribbing and pull up a loop. Now complete your double crochet. And that's a joined double crochet. Next stitch is half double crochet, half double crochet into the next 2 stitches, and single crochet in the next 2 stitches. Insert your hook, chain 1 and insert your hook into the first stitch for the next row. Rotate the work. 2 single crochet, a single crochet in the next 2 stitches, half double crochet in the next 2 stitches, just looking at where we are, and double crochet in the next 2 stitches. Now we're back at the garment. Insert the hook into the first available loop, stitch. Insert the hook in the next available stitch. I want to go into that next stitch. I'm into 3 stitches. I have 4 loops on the hook. With the 4th loop, pull it through this 3 stitches. And then slip stitch into the next stitch and turn your work. Into the back loop of the 4 loop slip stitch, pull up a loop, into the back loop of the next stitch, pull up a loop, and complete a double crochet now with your 3 loops on the hook. Double crochet in the next stitch, back loop only, half double crochet in the next 2 stitches, and single crochet into the next stitch. I can see the end in sight. Yay! That's such a satisfying feeling when you can see the end in sight. All right. Chain 1, insert the hook into the first stitch of your next pass and rotate your work. Single crochet into the next 2 stitches. Half double crochet into the next 2 stitches. Crochet in the next 2 stitches. And we're back at our garment. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. On the next 2, we're going to have 2 rounds. We're going to go back to our 3 half double crochet and our 3 single crochet here. So into the next stitch, insert your hook, pull up a loop, and do that again in the next stitch. With that 3rd loop, pull through 2 loops, slip stitch into the next stitch, rotate the work. Now half double crochet in the next 3 stitches. Single crochet in the next 3 stitches. Chain 1, insert the hook into your first stitch of the next round row, and rotate your work. Single crochet in the next 3 stitches. Half double crochet in the next 3 stitches. We're back to our work, and guess what? We only have 3 stitches. This is our last round. We're going to come into, you know what we're going to do since we need all 3 of those? We're actually going to, I didn't have enough stitches to do it the way we've done on the previous rows, so I'm going to come back into that stitch, the last stitch, to do my first. Pulling up a loop and into the next stitch, pull up a loop, pull through those 2 loops, and into the next stitch, slip stitch, and rotate the work. Same pattern as we've done on the previous round. Half double crochet into the back loops of the next 3 stitches. And as we come back to the garment after this round, we will be joining to our beginning ribbing. And then when we get back to the garment, we're going to have a party. We're going to put on our party hats and our, I don't know, those little kazoo things. And we're going to also throw up some confetti, because if you have made it with me this far, this is quite an accomplishment to do this. All right, we are at the end of our round. So we're going to join, and this is wonderful. We've gotten to this place. Adjust your garment where it can be flat, because that's the thing in this join. We want to make sure that we are, oh, this happened wonderfully. I love it when a plan comes together. Whenever we started our ribbing, it was a valley, and we have completed the ribbing in a hill. That's exactly what you want. And it doesn't always happen, but don't we love it when a plan comes together? So as we begin to join this seamlessly, we want it to look, when we get done, our ultimate goal is for no one to be able to tell where we stopped and started. So be mindful of that. So what we're going to do with our loop as we come in, and we're going to slip stitch back to the garment, and we are going to slip stitch into the back loop only of our beginning chain. And for that reason is why whenever I started the chain here, that I asked you to go into the back loop, because it gives us a full stitch front and back loops. And if we had needed to go into this top stitch, we could have. Actually, that is what we need to do, because we're going to turn the work. So we're going to slip stitch only into the back loop as we've rotated our work. I hadn't rotated my work when I gave the first overview. All right. I think I was off I think I was out of frame whenever I was showing that. Okay, what we're going to do now that we're at the end of our row, and this is our join. We're joining up with that beginning row. We're going to go into the back loop only. Back loop only. And make sure, check your tension here. If it's too loose, you'll have a little gap here that will show. So pull up a loop and then pull through the first loop. We're doing a slip stitch only into the next back loop of the beginning chain. Oh, I forgot to go into my other garment. You'd still have to go into this other garment. And again, we're going into the back loop. And then go into the back loop of the beginning chain. Pull through the loop. 3 loops. You had 3 loops to go through. All right. Now into the back loop of the next stitch and the back loop of your beginning chain. Pull through a loop. Pull through 3 loops. Back loop of the last pass, back loop of the beginning chain. Pull a loop through 3 loops, through the 3 loops on the hook. Back loop, pull through a loop. You've got 3 loops on the hook. Pull through 3 loops and you're slip stitching. Last stitch, back loop, 3 loops on the hook. Pull through 3 loops. Now before we clip our yarn, let's look at that and make sure. You see that? It's perfect. That's as good as it gets. I hope you've enjoyed this demo and have learned and gotten something out of it useful that you can use on your pullovers and cardigans in the future. I'm well aware that this tutorial is more or less a demo because without your pullover having exactly the same number of stitches as mine, you will have more or less rows of ribbing than I did. But the important thing to understand is how to use the different heights of stitches to help you come around curves and to create a circular neck. I really appreciate your time, and I hope you found value in this tutorial and the others that go with this pullover. The interesting thing to me about having it in parts is if in the future you would like to just refer back to ribbing, you can pull up just the 2 ribbing tutorials. Or if you want to just make a daisy square, you can just pull up those tutorials. You don't have to look at the entire pullover library in order to find exactly what you want. Having found value in these tutorials, please subscribe, like, and hit that notification bell so you won't miss any of my free tutorials. Until I see you again, keep calm and crochet on.